Once upon a time, in a small town, there lived a girl named May. At the tender age of 12, she lost her beloved parents in a tragic accident. May's parents had been quite wealthy, and they left her a beautiful house and substantial savings. However, her parents' sudden demise thrust her into a world of uncertainty. May had to rely on her distant relatives, her late father's second brother, and his wife. They seemed eager to take care of her, but their true intentions were far from noble. Greed was their motive, and they plotted to take advantage of May's inheritance. They ill-treated her, making her life miserable, and eventually, they succeeded in taking control of all her parents' savings, leaving her with nothing. Years passed, and May persevered. She graduated from college and secured a stable job. She bought her own house, determined to build a life independent of her conniving relatives. Everything seemed to be falling into place until she received news that her parents' house was being offered en bloc, and she would be compensated with millions due to its prime location. The moment the news broke, her uncle and his wife descended upon May's home, relentlessly pestering her about when they would receive their share of the compensation. They even began calling her daily, making her life a living nightmare. One fateful night, they took their greed to a sinister level. They arrived at May's house with a group of intimidating individuals, demanding that she share at least half of the compensation money. May refused to yield, but they didn't back down. Fearful for her safety, she threatened to call the police, and that was the turning point. The mere mention of the authorities sent her relatives and their companions fleeing into the night. However, the torment did not end there. In the following days, May received parcels containing dead animals and bloodied dolls, further intensifying her fear. Then, one day, her cousins, the children of her uncle, confronted her at her doorstep. They threatened her and physically assaulted her, leaving her battered and unconscious. When May regained consciousness, she found herself in a hospital bed. The apartment's management manager was at her side, revealing that her cousins had been arrested and provided evidence of their wrongdoing. He offered to help her find a lawyer, and to her astonishment, the lawyer he suggested turned out to be a childhood friend she had lost contact with after her parents' passing. Reconnecting with her childhood friend, Mike, who was now a renowned lawyer, proved to be a turning point in May's life. He was baffled as to why she hadn't reached out to him earlier, knowing that he would have readily assisted her. With the collected evidence of her uncle's threats and surveillance of her home, they built a strong case. Mike encouraged May to gather more evidence, including proof of her payments to her uncle. With his guidance, they confronted her uncle, who believed he was about to receive a substantial sum. May promised to meet him after securing the release of her cousins from police custody. The following day, her uncle and his wife marched into the police station, expecting a windfall, but were instead shocked to be charged with extortion. In a fit of rage, her uncle inadvertently injured 2 police officers, resulting in even more serious charges. At the court hearing, May, although still not fully recovered from her ordeal, showed up determined to seek justice. Her uncle's entire family, including his wife and children, were found guilty and sentenced to jail. In the midst of all the chaos, May's childhood friend, turned lawyer Mike, became her rock. He had been there for her when she needed him the most, and their bond grew stronger. Eventually, he proposed to her, and she happily accepted, solidifying their love story in the face of adversity. Together, May and Mike emerged victorious from the darkness that had plagued her life for so long. They built a bright future, filled with love, trust, and the promise of a better tomorrow.